everybody. This is Pastor David. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. And here we are, the first week of January. I can't believe it. We talked about 2022. I remember the first Sunday in 2022, we kicked off a theme for January a year ago, and it was lots to do in 22. We had no idea. We did not realize how much God had in store for us in 2022. At the time, we did not know we'd be in a new facility. We didn't know we would purchase an old school, which is where we are now. We didn't know, because God's plans are not our plans. In fact, God's plans are always seem to be better than our plans. And 2022, we wrapped it up last week. Sunday was a wonderful, beautiful day. January 1st, we spent New Year's Day and Christmas in church together as a family, which is not going to happen, I think, for about 11 more years. And so, a unique opportunity. I think we had a great December. We were talking in our staff meeting this week about what a good December it was with music, our musical, and we hosted concerts, and we had our family Christmas and then New Year's Day. So December was a wonderful time, and good to be in our new place, our new home. We already off to a good start this week. Monday night we had our very first open gym for men here at our church, at our new gym, and we had a bunch of guys out, and that's going to grow every week. Guys that want to come, these are men, not boys. These are 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Guys want to come out and run a little bit, play a little basketball, be together, fellowship, have some devotional time. And also did our middle school basketball Monday night. Tuesday nights we have our girls' middle school basketball here and wrestling going on here 2 or 3 nights a week. And Wednesday night, tonight, we will have a lot of activities. We will have the praise team will be back on schedule with their rehearsal here in our auditorium. We will have many life groups here that'll get kicked off again. We'll have discipleship groups. Wednesday night is an exciting time to be here at the campus, and I'd love for you to come check it out sometime. And then moving into the weekend, this weekend we have, sort of a quiet weekend. We have our women's breakfast Saturday morning, and it'll be 9 o'clock right here. I hope you can come, ladies, if you've never been. And then Sunday will be part 2, Follow Me in 2023. We kicked that off last Sunday. We talked about the 4 passages in the Gospels where Jesus said, come and follow me. Come with me. Come and be with me. That is an invitation that Jesus gave. And we talked about that. And I want to kind of talk about that the rest of this month as we launch into a brand new year. I was trying to think of all the things we needed to start the year off with. And I thought, perhaps the most important thing we can do this year is in a new year is to come and follow Jesus. You know what happens a lot in the South? A lot of us are raised in church. Maybe mamas, daddies took us to church, grandparents, and it's kind of what you do in the South. And you grow up and maybe hear the gospel and hear your preacher talking about heaven and hell, and a lot of little kids trust Christ. They listen, they believe, their heart's open, they invite Christ into their life, and they trust Christ for their salvation. And then life kind of goes on. You get middle school, high school, and we grow up maybe and move into some other areas, and sometimes start to drift away a little bit from God, from our relationship with Him. And then here we are as adults, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and somehow we have just drifted away. And we find ourselves in a place like the James and John and Andrew and Simon, Peter, and Jesus confronted them on the seashore, on the bank, and they were fishing. And He said, men, you know me, you met me, you know who I am. I want to give you an invitation to come and follow me. Come and be with me these next few years of ministry. And He gave them that invitation. Come follow me. And they said yes. In fact, they immediately left their nets and they followed Christ. And it could be that you are listening to that call right now. Maybe you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s or whatever, and maybe you know Jesus. You remember that time when you knew Him and trusted Him, Maybe He's calling you back to give your life to Him, and whatever it is you have left in your life, to live it for Him. And that's kind of what we're talking about. I want to read you a passage today, and we'll just kind of start some dialogue that we're going to do for the rest of the month. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21. Now, we're looking all month about, on Sunday mornings, about in the Gospels where Jesus said, He talked to individuals, He said, come be with me. Come follow me. And I want to show you those scenarios. But today, this is in 1 Peter, and it's a letter, and it's talking about the sufferings of Christ. And verse 21 says this, "For even hereunto, even now were you called." That's the call. That's that call. That's that when you, somewhere in your heart, you feel this call, this restlessness. The Holy Spirit, Jesus is calling you. And sometimes you have this feeling that, I just need to do more. Have you ever do you know that feeling? I just need to do more for Jesus. I need, something's missing. That's a call. That's this call in your heart. And He said, even now were you called, because Christ also suffered for us. We're going back to that time where Jesus denied Himself, and He was going to take the cup of the cross. And He gave Himself, He suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should, listen to these next three words, follow His steps. I believe that our greatest need, our greatest calling in life is to follow Jesus. Follow His step. Now, I want to spend the next few weeks explaining, what does that look like? What does it look like to follow Jesus? Sometimes we talk about things, but we don't understand how to do it. What does that look like in real life, not hypothetically? In my life, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not just on Sundays. And I want us to think about it. And I think there's two important steps. And this is kind of going to be the outline for the next 3 Sundays. The first one is, hear the call. Hear the call. The Word, the preacher, the Bible, devotions, the Holy Spirit. You hear Jesus. You hear Jesus is calling you to something more. There's a emptiness. There's a restlessness. That don't mean you're bad. Don't be afraid of that. That means Jesus is calling you to follow Him. Not just to do more. We feel like sometimes, I got to do more. I need to do more. Sometimes that's not what you need to do. Sometimes you just need to follow Him. And so first step is, do you hear it? Some people don't, they neglect it. They're in denial. They just don't listen. Jesus is knocking and they just don't hear Him. They don't listen. So the first step is to hear the call. The second step is to answer the call. So when your mama used to call you, maybe out the screen door, she'd call, hey, supper's ready. She'd call you, and if it was like me, you better answer her. You better listen, and then you better respond. Jesus is calling you. You don't have to respond. You don't have to. You don't have to listen. But it would be wise and beneficial for you in every way to listen. So here's the thing. I want you to hear Him. This year, I want you to listen. Listen for Jesus calling you. And then I want you to answer His call. Now, you say, well, I don't want to answer. Okay, then you've just answered. If you choose to not listen, not answer, then you've just answered. You've just said no. I deny it. I didn't hear you. And we can do that. That in itself is an answer. So your response, and then the third step is to follow Him. Now, what does that look like? When you listen, you hear, you listen, you respond, you say yes, the journey begins. The journey begins. And it's just the beginning of the journey to trust Christ. You hear it, you hear that call, you're convicted in your heart, and you say, oh man, I need to follow, I need to get saved. I need to surrender and say yes, and you do that, and that's not the end, my friend. That's just the beginning of the journey. The rest of your life is about, now, I've trusted Christ for my salvation. Now I need to follow Him every day. That does not mean necessarily that you need to quit your job and sell your house and go somewhere and follow. Doesn't mean that unless Jesus calls you to do that. We're going to see this Sunday that Jesus specifically gave a call to a young man. And he was after the young man's heart. He didn't care about his money. He didn't care about his job. He cared about his heart. And he offered this young man, he said, I want you to follow me. But in order to do it, you're going to have to do some things. And the young man walked away sad because he couldn't do it. So I want you to respond this week and this month as we study this, and wherever it is you are in your life, whatever your age, it doesn't matter. Listen to Him calling you with your heart and then respond. Don't ignore it. And I would recommend that you say yes. And then the journey begins, and I'm going to take the next few weeks to start to explain what does it look like. Because a lot of people, they want to, but they don't know how. We're going to start talking about that. So I want you to be here Sunday. I've got some special guests that I want you to meet. And we're going to have a great time Sunday. And each Sunday of this month as we continue to talk about Follow Me in 23. Thank you for joining me today. I will look forward to seeing you in person. Thank you.